Welcome to the Indiana Football Postgame Show with Jim Coyle and Coach Shannon Griffith. A production of ISB Media. Now, here's your host, Jim Coyle, and game analyst, Coach Shannon Griffith.
Welcome into the post-game show here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. I'm the Coach Shannon Griffith, waiting for Jim to come along. Presser taking a little longer probably than you normally would, but hey, who's complaining after a big road win the Indiana Hoosiers had this evening at Maryland, 55-10? We're going to get you all caught up, broken down. We'll get some insights from Jim because of a lot of guys, a lot of bodies did not play a lot of plays today. Aiden Fisher out. Surratt went out early in the first quarter with what was to believe a tight hamstring and a more precautionary situation there. You had Evans out. Not quite sure what his status is or isn't. I think it's Makowski played very well in that role at left guard today. His first collegiate start in probably a year at least, because I'm not quite sure how many games he played at Ohio State, but thought he stepped in and played well as well. There were some other bodies on defense. So Indiana, for the most part today, took some lumps in what I thought would be a pretty physical ball game. Maryland is a physical ball club, and the way Indiana started that first couple of drives, that left a lot to be desired, especially with the way Mendoza started the day off with the pick, and a horrible decision on his part there, going from the right hash to the left hash with the cornerback sitting on the route. That just wasn't a great decision. And their second drive was negative 16 yards. And there he is, Jim Coyle. We were just talking, trying to guess if you had any updates of the number of guys that either were scratched prior to the game, Evans being one of them, and then Surratt not playing the better part of 3 quarters with what was described as a tight hamstring.
Yeah, it sounded like it's no big deal for Elijah Surratt. Hello, everybody. How are you? Welcome into College Park, Maryland, here Beautiful. At the University of Maryland, as Indiana comes out another stomp down, beat down, 55-10. But to get to Coach's questions, Elijah Surratt, it seems like it's no big deal. Coach said that it was early in the week. It looked like that Aiden Fisher wasn't really going to get to go. And Drew Evans, I think it was the one he said might be out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So that we'll get a little taste when they go to Penn State. So that's going to hurt the depth a little bit, but it looked probably worse than it really was. I think that they're at a point to where they're kind of able to be a little more precautionary as they would have been able to be in the past. But man, I feel bad for teams that play Indiana because they think that they're in the game, and then all of a sudden, bam, and they're down 40 points. Yeah. It's just like somebody waved a wand and it's over, man. I mean, the rushing today was unbelievable. Maryland could not run the ball against Indiana, which few teams have been able to successfully do that this season. They had some success passing the ball, but not much. Indiana just destroyed them statistically. And the rushing yards, every guy that touched the ball for Indiana had more rushing yards than Maryland did in total.
Yeah. Maryland Yeah, Maryland finished with just 37 yards rushing, of which the majority of that was probably the last couple drives. Indiana, 367 yards on the ground. I've been waiting for this to come back, the 300-yard mark, and last week they were close at 262, but my goodness, they rushed for 100 yards more today than they did last week against UCLA, and all I can do is this, applaud, because you know as well as I do, if you're going to win in November and December, you better be able to run the football.
Absolutely, especially when you're a team like Indiana that uses the pass a lot. But they do because they can, and because they have a great quarterback, great receivers, and a very good offensive line. But they don't have to. And that's the difference between teams that look good sometimes, but then get in certain situations and struggle because you can put them into harm's way. You can't put this team in harm's way. You're going to make them run the ball? Okay, they're going to run over you. You're going to make them throw the ball? They'll throw it over you. So that's something that this team has. It's what makes them one of, if not the best team in the country. This defense, we just talked about this with Signetti. This defense has given up 7 touchdowns all season.
Yeah.
They played 9 games. More importantly, in the second half, they've given up 2 touchdowns all season. 2 touchdowns. Yeah. Most of the time, you're probably going to give up more scores in the second half of games, Coach. People get tired. It starts running down. You're starting to put the 2s in. Not with this team. They just seem to get a little stronger as the game goes on. And Signetti talked about the importance of that. Playing every play like it's the first play to the last play. And he says we're very close. We're right there. And he's high on this team. And he should be, obviously, but you can tell that he's got a lot of confidence as this team heads toward the end of the season. Got to stay healthy. As you can see today, I mean, health is, especially for a team like Indiana, it's crucial.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I did think the next man up played well today for Indiana. Zen Morakowski, I think that's how you pronounced it. Mikowski, sorry there, Zen. I thought he played really good for a kid that was playing tackle, flipped to left guard. Now, he's probably done that in practice because I understand, my understanding with Bob Bosted's ideas, he takes the next best offensive lineman and they move him around so he's ready to go no matter what. I thought he played well, and then some of the other guys that stepped in, I thought played pretty darn good as well because you didn't notice them. You didn't notice them in a bad fashion. Maybe they were in a good fashion, like Byron Baldwin gets the big fumble recovery after Sharp knocks it out of the hands, and then Boykin with his
strip, scoop, and score.
Yeah. Yankee, there is a to be determined on the time next week for Indiana Penn State. That has not been established yet.
Is that right?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I know that CBS is a possible covering that game, as they said late in the broadcast. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure which way that will go. I would imagine
that would likely make it a 3:30 game.
Yeah, well, I would imagine Fox will have its first choice, and that's probably what they're waiting on in that respect. Here's the pick. I want to show this. I got a couple highlights here. First one, the pick for Lewis Moore. This is one heck of a play, and it was probably even prettier in person.
Now a 2 tight end set on a first down. And Malik Washington looking to air one out. Going deep. Man out there, and it's intercepted.
Man.
Picked off by Lewis Moore.
That was an absolutely incredible play, an absolutely incredible defensive play. That was like right below where we were in the press box. I mean, it was right. We were like right at that yard line, and you could just see everything. The pass was coming, and you could see him closing.
Yeah,
just a tremendous, ferocious defensive move. Indiana was great defensively all the way around. They gave up some things here and there, but they were pretty good all the way around, especially with the dings and knocks that they got.
Yeah.
They're sore. They're sore right now. You're 9 games into the season, and so that's going to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Malik Washington's a very good young quarterback. It's going to be a
Boy,
great
is he.
one there. 16 of 31, 242, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, only 52% on the day. But that kid is going to be a special player, and you bet they're going to get some people around him. Here is the big fumble recovery, I believe, that Boykin had there in the second that kind of really turned this ball game around.
Try to get the yard.
He's not good.
Nope, it's going to be Washington, and he dropped the ball. Scooped up by Indiana, going the other way. And diving to the end zone is Devon Boykin. Touchdown, Hoosiers.
Yeah, that was a big-time
Tremendous play there, man. He did it all right there. He stripped the ball, got it out, got it to the ground, scooped it up, and then says, "Hey, baby, I'm going to pay dirt."
Yeah, it was a beautiful play. And then we're going to play this one for Mr. Hemby because I know it was special for him. This is
More
the touchdown
after that.
run.
But we still got a month left. Hemby, big shot off the side and into the end zone. Roman Hemby, touchdown.
You know he wanted that one. I even think the IU coaching staff wanted him to get that one.
Yeah, great job all the way around. Kobe Martin coming in at the end. How many yards did he end up with?
Kobe ended up with 80 yards on 11 carries, 1 touchdown, a long of 36, 7.3 yard average. And I think the kid is good enough to be in the rotation, quite honestly. But again, you don't change what's working for you because I tell you, Black is such a fun back to watch. He drags so many people. He's got such big, strong legs that he gets at least maybe 2 to 3 more yards because of them not getting him to the ground. I mean, quite honestly, that's what it is. And then Hemby is just a load. So Indiana right there got some good backs coming in. And how about little brother Alberto down the sideline? He almost tripped and fell, but he
did. Yeah, he did. He ran out of gas.
Yeah, I think he did run out of gas because he was huffing and puffing, and you knew he was going to hand off the next play. That was what I was predetermined. I'm handing it off. There is no read.
Yeah, I guarantee it. Yeah, there was no way he was going to be running the ball anymore. But he comes in, does another great job. There was a touchdown pass on 4th down, no less. When I thought for sure they were going to probably run some kind of option for him to get outside and score like he did before, but he goes and throws a pretty tight pass there, right on the dot, right where you had to have it to score. Is a great pass.
Yeah, you got to be impressed with his progress of the games that he's gotten in to take some snaps, and he's been able to really show how better he has gotten within a year. And strong arm, he's got more speed than Fernando for sure. A little bit smaller, 6'2", 195, but he has a complete package. There's no question about that one. Time of possession today. Remember, Maryland had been dominating teams in time of possession. Indiana had it for 40 minutes today. 40 minutes to Maryland's 1938. That's incredible.
That's because Indiana kept taking the ball away.
Yeah. And then third
can you
down.
Hear me?
Yes, I can. You sound.
It's just getting awfully noisy here. I wanted to make sure.
No, you're coming in great, man.
Not you.
You're sounding great. What I was going to say is Indiana was 7 of 12 on 3rd downs today. Maryland,
that's another good week. And look what Maryland was. They were like 2 of 9 or something, weren't they?
Well, they ended up 3 of 12 on today. And again, Indiana over 2 weeks has given up on 3rd down 4 of 23 over the last 2 weeks between UCLA and today Maryland. 4 of 23. And
it's kind of hard to do anything or score when you can't get past 3rd down.
No. And again, it's just crazy. Indiana was perfect in the red zone again, 5 of 5. Maryland was 1 of 2 in the red zone today. And the big one, as always, is points off of turnovers. Indiana had 24 points today off of turnovers as they garnered 5, 3 fumbles, 2 interceptions. And
Maryland led coming into today. Maryland led the country in turnover ratio.
Yeah, I think they were like a plus 11, if I'm not mistaken. Indiana came in like at a plus 8. So Indiana today with the big 5 takeaways, and they had 1 interception. So that's plus 4 on the day. So Indiana's going to be out at a plus 12 in takeaways, and probably somewhere around 72 points off of turnovers, which is a huge category because that means the production you're getting off of a defensive turnover is very good. That leads to points. And that's the incredible part, is it leads to points, and where they're at right now is just on fire.
Absolutely. As they head toward the end of the season, you still have 3 games left. You've got to go to Penn State next. Penn State losing today to Ohio State. Not terribly. I guess it could have been worse, but they got beat. So Indiana's got to take that game seriously, no matter what. Just got to take care of business on the way out.
Right. Well, Penn State, they've got really good players, as they always have, and just because the coach was fired doesn't mean they don't have good players anymore. It was a 17-14 game at halftime there at Ohio State, and then Ohio State kind of opened it up in the second half. But
I'll be right back. You take care of things.
I will. And again, I'm going to throw what I thought was one of the best play calls today with Maryland sitting on routes. Indiana had to do some double moves because that was, outside of the horrible decision by Mendoza on the first pick, where he threw it from the right hash to the left hash on that 3rd and 9. And that that corner, number 14, was sitting on routes all day. Well, they got down in the red zone, and Shanahan finally said, I will fix this problem.
Fernando Mendoza looking for more. Goes to the corner. Wide open. He's not going to drop that one. Omar Cooper, touchdown Indiana.
Watch Omar put a move on the slant and go.
This is called sluggo.
Can't drop this one, Ness said, and I agree, but it was one with the route. Watch him go. Slant and go. As good as you can do it.
Oh, man. Pretty route. Easy throw and catch.
And a really smart play by coordinator Mike Shanahan on that one.
Yeah, that was the play that they finally did a double move on number 14. He was sitting on routes, put Cooper on the outside.
I kept saying that all day, man.
Yeah.
That very first play that they picked off, they kept jumping those routes. This happened last week. I think they watched last week's games. UCLA did a good job of jumping the routes, but they didn't do as good a job as Maryland did today. And I just kept saying, dude, I'm like, they got to roll him up. Yeah. And they finally did. But, yeah, they were jumping those routes, baby. They were tight on that coverage outside on those throws.
Yeah, in some of the throws that Fernando did make today were in tight spaces, and you saw the strength and quickness of his arm today on a few of those throws that with a man in coverage on a receiver, he was, buzzing it into tight windows and hitting the guys where they, nobody can touch it. And, but I'm with you. They got to start looking at some of these double moves more now, because
if you think that Ohio State or another teams are not watching this,
oh yeah,
you're wrong. Yeah, you'd be wrong, because I promise you they are. These defensive coordinators, they've got to find a way to beat this team. And so you start breaking down little things like that, as you know. And that's one of those things I think Indiana's going to have to correct, because that can come back to bite them big time.
Yeah, and then you take into account this week that Maryland had 2 weeks to prepare from Indiana, and they
could have had 2 months; it wouldn't have mattered.
Well, agreed. The fact that Indiana did what they did against a team that had 2 weeks to prepare for them probably led to some of those routes that they were sitting on because of what you said. They took advantage of seeing it on a pretty regular basis on film, and that should be a huge key to Coach Shanahan, that he's going to have to look at doing some things there, and they're not running enough tailback screens. They've got to start running that to slow down the rush, especially when you're getting balls batted at the line of scrimmage. They had 3 batted balls down today, and that's not good. So there's some things they got to work on. There's no question. They came out sluggish and it wasn't pretty, but at the end of it, they got themselves rolling basically because of the defense and what they performed and did today. Jim.
And they are 9-0 for the second consecutive season. Indiana, Kurt Cignetti has lost 2 games as the head coach at Indiana. One more road game at Penn State before they head back to Bloomington to take on Wisconsin, where Cignetti is undefeated as Indiana's head coach. And then they'll head to Bloomington, and then we're going to Indianapolis, man. The Hoosiers will be taking on the Ohio State Buckeyes. This is going to be a spectacular end of the season. Again, Indiana just wiped the floor today with another opponent. My curiosity, Coach, is when the CFP poll comes out this week, the first, is it going to be Indiana or Ohio State at the top?
Well, I know that's a
If
debate.
you look on paper, Indiana has the best resume.
Correct. And even according to ESPN's FPI, when you look at the resume and efficiency, Indiana is viewed as the top team in the country.
But the thing is, that unfortunately doesn't show bias, so they're not going to be allowed to use that.
Yeah, you're probably not going to keep the number 1 ranked team in both polls and the defending national champions out of the first slot, but Indiana is firmly in this thing, and that's the most important thing. And let the game that may happen here in a few weeks in Indianapolis be the one that says the most, and that will, and in that regard. Do you guys have any concern with our passing game? Seem more inconsistent today. Maybe I'm just spoiled. No, I think what you're seeing and the frustration of it is what Jim and I were talking about. The DBs are setting on routes pretty aggressively. And when you do that, you got to start helping your receivers with some double moves.
And I don't know that Fernando had as much time today to throw the ball, because Maryland, they had 22 sacks coming into this game. So they're good up on that front line.
Second to Indiana. They were second to Indiana in the Big Ten.
Yeah. I did not know that. So there you go. Yeah. So that's part of it. But no, this team is too good. Elijah Surratt, not quite as healthy. So there's a big part of your deal there. But there's no point in making excuses. I think they're fine. We'll find out. No. But I think they're fine.
That's a great question, though. Because
every question's good. Because you can ask anything, and because you never know. This is the team that, again, 2 years ago, somebody would have shot me if I was having this conversation that we're having. It's real, baby.
Putting you in the cuckoo house.
Put me in the chair. Yeah. But another great performance by the Hoosiers. They come out to College Park, get a win against a team that has lost 4 straight now after opening the season.
3-0.
3-0, yeah. Now they're 3-4.
They may be 3-5 right now, but because they had lost 4 in a row, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember. And this game was the first game of the losing streak that they had where they were completely blown out. The 3 previous losses were for a total of 10 points. And they had Washington beat in the fourth quarter 20-3, and they came back and won it.
I just wonder if some of these CFP folks are going to look at this, see these scores, and see what Indiana is doing every week after week, and say, okay, come on, guys.
Yeah, it's a consistent theme, as like you said. The other thing that will be interesting to see, too, is where some other teams in the Big Ten stack up in the 3 and 4 slot as well when we get to the draw. I think it's on Tuesday. I thought it was on Monday. It is on Tuesday is when the first poll is released. And I know what it was. Michigan State, Jonathan Smith lost again today in overtime to Minnesota, 23-20. There's a guy that can't buy a win at all. Can't buy a win.
What are they going to do? Fire him?
Well, if you look at the East Lansing media right now, they've all but started picking out the new coach. So,
I'm sure. Who is that going to be? Because there's a whole bunch of teams that needs a coach.
It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts when you think of the amount of jobs that are open right now. Very good jobs, very good mid-level type of jobs. That is going to be interesting to see who all filters out through all this. But again, Indiana rolls today 55-10 on a strength of a rushing game that finished with 52 rushing attempts, 4 touchdowns, and 367 yards on the ground. I believe that's their 5th game of this season of rushing for over 300 yards. I don't think Indiana has ever seen anything like that before. And Keelan Black, 110 yards, 88 yards for Hemby. Martin, 80 yards. Alberto had the 1 rush for 53. Fernando Mendoza, 24. And we're going to show his big touchdown where they run quarterback draw. And this is another great call by Shanahan in this ball game.
Mendoza, quarterback draw. He's going to walk in. Touchdown, Indiana. And Coogan was the lead man. He didn't have to touch anybody.
That was after the second series of the game. That was their 3rd series. And after that second series that Indiana had, they had negative 16 yards on those 3 plays prior to that drive that went for the touchdown there by Mendoza on a great call by Coach Shanahan, because Maryland had a tendency of really bailing out of the linebacker spot, especially in pass downs, and Coogan and Mendoza looked like they could have played patty cake because it was so wide open for a touchdown. I just showed the quarterback draw where it was another great call by Shanahan to get that first touchdown of the day.
Well, man, that's about to wrap it up for me.
Yep, you got it. Safe travels back, my man. Jim will be back on Monday to get you all rounded up about all will happen this weekend. And
Don Fisher be with us. We'll talk to Don about the latest win. And I think Inside Indiana Basketball starts Monday night at Hoosier Heights. So you can go out there and visit Don and Coach DeVries as well. But
when the Hoosiers play basketball, is it Tuesday or Friday next week?
Wednesday or Sunday?
Probably you better know than me. I'm throwing out dates that I'm not sure of.
Well,
but
I know
anyway.
there's a game Sunday because I'm going to it. But I think that's Alabama A&M is the first game, I believe.
Okay.
So there's
safe travels back, my man. Have some
Maryland, Chicago, Eugene. We'll get it straightened out.
Get some of those Maryland crab cakes.
Done had the crab cakes, baby.
I saw that.
Should have saw my tweet. I sent out crab cakes and football. That's what Indiana does, apparently.
A good plug to get it there at Bloomington. But have a safe trip back home, my man.
I'll see you guys on the radio. Thank you.
Yeah, for Jim Coyle, I'm the Coach Shannon Griffith, and we will see you, Hoosier fans, on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.